Hello, NBA 2K14 fans and Rashidi maniacs. This is Rashidi, your real 2K insider, and this is going to be a little bit of an experiment. I'll probably have to change the layout of not only the visuals, but probably the alignment of stuff in my room, like my TV and my computer and all that jazz. But I'm going to try and live stream my editing process on YouTube for your viewing pleasure. I do encourage comments, feedback, players that you want to see rated, etc. So I'm just going to get started. And I seem to have misplaced my Xbox 360 controller prior to the launch. Here we go. Okay. So, and I may have had an echo just now, but I took care of it. At least I think so, by turning off the volume in my headset. So, just to repeat, I'm going to be editing my NBA 2K14 roster, and I encourage all forms of feedback. I will be looking at the comments section from time to time. You've got, in the bottom right hand corner of your screen, you should see what's going on my computer screen, and then top right hand corner is obviously me and yeah, everything that I'm doing in the real world. So, and you can also see my TV in the background. Um, I think you can also see, obviously, in the main screen, what's actually on my TV. So that's kind of a funny mirror thing that we got going on. Again, I'll probably have to change the layout of things. Unfortunately, my webcam is built into my PC, so depending on where my PC is positioned, that's where you're going to be seeing. So yeah, that's why you've got my TV in the visual. Anywho, let me get started. One thing I'm going to do real quick is actually let's head to Roto World and hit my refresh button, see if any other players were cut. Hamadi Nadia was waived by the Kings. There's a lot of minor players with non-guaranteed contracts who are being waived before their contracts get guaranteed on January 7th, essentially. So today's the final day, I believe. It's also the last day for the Cavaliers and the Lakers to get an Andrew Bynum trade done, or wherever the Cavs are going to trade him. Otherwise, they will cut him most likely. So let's cut Nadia. He hadn't really played much at all. Can we actually see his numbers? No, because he's a cap in this roster at least. So let's release him. They could bring him back on a 10-day contract. I don't expect that they will, though, because they do have Aaron Gray on the roster now. And Nadia was barely playing as it was anyway. In fact, let's just see how little he was playing. He played 14 games and 74 minutes this year. His PE, his player efficiency rating was 2.9. It's now 3.9 for his career, so he's not really an NBA player. I don't expect to see him back anytime soon, if at all, ever. So, sayonara, Nadia. And because I cut him, now I have to readjust the Kings rotation. Which means, great, I also have to adjust all their player roles again. Fantastic. Because 2K just has to automate everything for me. Alright, take him out. Take him out. Drop him down to 20. Let's get him at 25. Oh, Carl Landry's hurt. Okay. That's where all these minutes are coming from, essentially. Okay. I've got about 25 minutes to allocate without looking at the playing time rotation. Not that I'm against that. I actually will do that now just to fine-tune it. So off to the Basketball Reference Clubhouse and check out the last 10 games. Sort that by games played. And then take a look at the minutes played. So DeMarcus Cousins, 35 minutes. Isaiah Thomas, 37. Ben McLemore, 26. Rudy Gay, 36. Derek Williams, 21. Jason Thompson, 27. All right, so his playing time is holding steady. Once Carl Landry comes back, though, his playing time should drop, and he might get traded. 22 for Marcus Thornton, 16 for Travis Outlaw. Jimmer playing only 11 minutes a game. So I actually have 6 minutes to allocate. Oh, Quincy Acey's been playing for them. Never mind. Alright, he's been playing 14 minutes a game. So now I gotta get creative. Travis Outlaw hasn't played. He's only played 8 out of the last 10 games, so I will reduce his minutes a little bit. And Marcus Thornton also. And AC's been playing 14 minutes a game, so let's just take one more minute off of each of those guys. Boom, boom, boom. And presto, we've got the Kings rotation. From top to bottom. And let me just click one of their box scores, make sure that everybody is still starting. Oh, Jason Thompson has overtaken Derek Williams for the starting job, which explains why his minutes are higher. And that makes sense anyway, because I think Derek Williams is better as a six-man, especially with Cousins and Rudy Gay and Isaiah Thomas in the lineup. There's too many scorers. So, fantastic. And actually, I gotta head back and adjust their player roles, because otherwise, in association, they will ignore my rotation somewhat and just go right into what 2K is assigned. It works better on next gen that doesn't current gen, but all this work just from waiving one scrub center who doesn't even play. Carl Landry will be the six-man when he comes back, so he's a six-man. And you know what? Since we're here, why don't I just work on some Kings ratings anyway? Let's see. Carl Landry. No, wait. Bleh. Yeah, they're all fine. You know what? Let's actually make him a role player. And I think that's everybody. You know what? He's fine as a prospect, whatever. Isaiah Thomas, I will actually make a star player. Because he really has been. He's been killer this year. Alright, so there's a couple players on the roster that I have not edited yet. Jimmer Fredette's among them. I want to get him a higher rating than Ray McCollum. Ben McLemore is one. Actually, I don't think I've edited. I might have edited DeMarcus Thornton. I'm not 100% sure. I gotta check that out. Travis Outlaw, I could edit. Don't think I edited Derek Williams either, so why not? Let's adjust him. Carl Landry, I haven't adjusted, but he's not a priority as long as he's hurt. And Quincy Acey, since he's actually playing for the Kings, I will take a look at him. And Aaron Gray's not playing, but he should be higher than a 56 overall rating. 2K usually butchers their center ratings quite a bit. So let's just get started. I'm going to start from the top. And let's head over to rosters and stats. And why are all my comments showing up as spam? And Ryan, hey, could we play after we do your roster editing? Sure. I'm not exactly 100% sure when I'm going to be done. I tend to bounce around a little bit. Other players may get cut or traded. I do already have the Grizzlies Celtics trade-in of Jared Bayless and Courtney Lee. Trade is not official yet, so there could be other players on the move. Okay. Andre Miller could also be traded at any time. Alright, news. No, players. Boom, that's all I want. Okay, I think I got all my appropriate windows open. And I actually do have a Synergy Sports window open. However, it's against their privacy policy or terms of service to display it on YouTube. So unfortunately, you guys will not get to see any of my interactions on Synergy. And I don't want to lose my YouTube, my ability to show videos on YouTube, which is why I would not show it on my channel, because I'm sure that would get back to them, and then I'd probably lose my license, and then no videos for anybody. So if you do want to see Synergy, then I suggest you subscribe. It's a relatively cheap deal. Actually, never mind. It's like 90 bucks. But wait until it gets a little cheaper. Okay, Isaiah Thomas, boom. And Isaiah Thomas, boom. Thomas. Okay. And there's really only one thing I look for on NBA.com right now. It's the shot charts. And no portion of NBA.com may be duplicated, redistributed, or manipulated in any form. I hope this does not qualify. I'm gonna continue streaming. If it is, I apologize, and I'll just put it in. I'll make a new window and place it off in the corner of my page somewhere, as I did with this synergy thing. But I think I'm okay. I'm just showing off content that's free anyway. So, all right. Where to begin? All right. So he's shooting the ball relatively well, considering he's a high volume player. Don't think I need to update Isaiah Thomas too much, as he's already. I've already touched on him within the last month, so I'm not expecting any major changes. Pass rating should be high. Yeah, it's pretty accurate, 80 for what he's doing right now. His assisted percentage is 34%. That's pretty high. Consistency, yeah, that's fine. Let me do a quick calculation of what his offensive awareness would be for the year. Going by 2K scale. If I did the math on that correctly, then a 99 would actually be appropriate. I've got 93. I think 93 is fine for the moment, considering last year would have been... That's 90. So by last year's numbers, he would have had a 90 offensive awareness by 2K scale. This year, 99. 93 is fine. It's still early in the year. But it's definitely something that will probably be on the upswing in later months, and certainly by the end of the year if he continues at the pace that he's on right now. Yeah, I'm not really seeing... Isaiah Thomas is fine. On to the next one. DeMarcus Cousins. Might see some changes here. Again, I'm pretty on top of all the big name players. One thing I could check. Yeah, his 82 games profile is fine. Alright, Cousins. Damn, he's been killing it. His player efficiency rating is 27. That's good. That's 5th in the NBA right now. Let me see who that's trailing. Where is he? Where the hell's player efficiency rating? Alright, boom. Durant's leading the league right now, just barely. LeBron's right behind him. Kevin Love, Chris Paul, DeMarcus Cousins. That's odd to see. I think Anthony Davis has fallen off a little bit. He was leading the league early, but he got hurt and came back. Probably not playing as well as he was before the injury. Melo, Dirk, Curry, and Paul George round out your top 10. So DeMarcus Cousins is, whoa. That's a 7-point improvement from last year. It's pretty similar to what Brook Lopez actually does. Just, wow. I wasn't expecting that, actually. That's definitely improved. It was like 24 last time I saw it. So he's been producing at a high level probably since the Rudy Gay trade, is my guess. I've got his basketball reference game log open. And let's see. So since January 1st, he's been averaging 24.5 points, 12 rebounds, 3.5 assists, 2.2 steals. And the one downside is he is averaging 4 turnovers. But 24.5 points per game from your center, who doesn't even play that much. He's only playing 32.6 minutes. So those are numbers that could actually go up if he were able to stay out of foul trouble. Wow. Any noteworthy games? He dropped 33 and 14 against the Sixers 2 games ago. 26 and 11 against the Bobcats in his most recent game. 17 and 16 versus the Rockets. 29 and 14 versus the Spurs. 27 and 17 versus the Heat. 24 and 14 versus the Pelicans. 14 and 11 versus the Magic. 1, 2, 3. So he's had 7 straight double doubles. 5 of them with 20 points or more. And then before that, he had 27 and 8 versus the Heat, 28 and 7 versus the Heat, 6 assists and 5 assists in both of those games. 30, 17 and 6 versus the Bobcats. 21, 10 and 5 versus the Rockets. So he's been scoring at a high level and passing the ball more than he did earlier in the year, and certainly for what he's done for most of his career. His assist percentage is 19%. That's up from 15% last year. His steal percentage is 3%. That's ridiculously high for a center. It was 2.4% last year to basically lead all centers. So where is your steal percentage? It's 8th in the NBA right now. And that's got to be by far the best for a center, aside from like Andre Drummond might be that high. Oh, DeJuan Blair also has a good steal rate, but Rubio, Tony Allen, Michael Carter-Williams, Chris Paul, Mario Chalmers, DeJuan Blair, Dwayne Wade, DeMarcus Cousins, Jimmy Butler, and Kawhi Leonard round out your top 10 in steal rate. So Blair and Cousins are clearly ahead of the rest of the front court pack with their steal rate. There are no other big men on the top 20. So that's pretty damn good. His block rating is a little bit better. He's leading the league in usage rate, which I kind of expected that. He's always been leading. He's been leading the league in usage rate among centers for basically ever since he entered the league. So it doesn't surprise me if he's putting up these kind of numbers, 23 points per game, that he would be leading the league. So, alright, I got a number of things to change up. Alright, let's head over to his NBA.com page. And David White, I did used to use hoopdata.com, but it no longer exists. Or it exists, but they're not updating it anymore for this season, so that's kind of out the window. Let's head to the shot chart for DeMarcus Cousins. Oh, that is one thing that I can change for Isaiah Thomas is I've been tweaking players' tendencies, his shot tendencies. I already did his, though. Okay. Cool. Never mind, then. Did I do Cousins' shot tendencies? Yes, I did. Shot tendency 100. Yeah. Okay, now I just need to get his abilities to reflect what he's doing. Okay. So Cousins shoots 38% from close range, 37% from mid range. So pretty consistent in the close and mid range are kind of the same. Close and medium, they're both the mid range game. There's obviously one's further distance than the other. But for all intents and purposes, that's the mid range game. So this actually I can improve from a 67. One thing I've noticed from using the NBA.com data as opposed to Basketball Reference is there is a bit of a discrepancy from the data with some of the players. So I do like to just glance at what last year's production was. It looks pretty spot on for Cousins compared to what Basketball Reference has. Basketball Reference does notate that their data is not 100% accurate, so I do think it's best to go with the official NBA data, obviously, since that's as close to 100% accurate as we can get. And I did notice that because NBA.com released their shooting data stuff, Basketball Reference actually hasn't done shooting data this year, which is kind of disappointing because I do feel that their interface is easier to use, it loads quicker. You can see in my right-hand corner, play-by-play data is not available for the 13-14 season, and we're already 2 months into the season. I did like the layout and all the details that it has with the shooting splits, but I guess they're not doing it this year, or maybe they'll do it at the end of the year, I don't know. So I've been forced to adjust with the data that I use in my editing. Anyway, normally I also edit faster, but I'm carrying on conversation with my viewers right now. Cousins, boom. And his default rating is an 85 mid-range, which is way high. Let's give him a 74. Hasn't hit any threes. I'll increase his shot in traffic rating. Pass rating is what needs to go up. I've already accounted for his increased shot block rate. Steal rate can definitely go up just a wee bit. Steals can kind of fluctuate a lot, so I do want to be cautious, and I of course will revisit Cousins at a later date. One thing that I will do that unfortunately I can't show you is I'm going to check out DeMarcus Cousins' dunking ability on Synergy. Rebounds. Yeah, I can make that a 99. He's got a 30% defensive rebound rate, which is third in the NBA. He was 8th last year. He's 3rd now. Let me actually see who that's behind. I'm going to guess Kevin Love and Kevin Garnett, not Reggie Evans. I don't think Reggie Evans has the minutes to qualify. And I was right. Kevin Garnett leads. Kevin Love is 2nd. DeMarcus Cousins is 3rd. Bogut and DeAndre Jordan are the 2 following guys. Dwight Howard, Vucevic, Duncan, Randolph, and Drummond round out the top 10. Alright, so Cousins has pretty damn close to a league-leading rate. 30% will usually get you there. And my Microsoft Word is not responding. Please crash. I would love it if you crashed. Well, that's pretty freaking irritating to happen on a live stream. Da-da-da. No, Windows, don't check for a solution to the problem. Just close the program. Alright, let me just click that real quick. Alright, looks like all my data was recovered. Alrighty. And we're back. Alright, so where was I? Consistency I will raise. Stamina I will raise a point. Hustle I will raise 3 points. Actually, let's actually raise consistency to a full 90, because he's pretty much producing at a high level every game. And just looking at synergy real quick. His defensive ratings look fine. That I can change. I'm going to raise Cousins' post offense. Which makes sense. because he's been having such a good offensive year. And now I'm going to watch some post offense. I wish I could full screen this. Oh wait, well I guess you know what, I can. Haha, taking away my screen region. And now Silverlight will probably crash on me. Isn't roster editing fun? Yeah, I think Silverlight just crashed. That's the program that Synergy runs on. And I have to wait 2 minutes before I can reactivate Synergy. This is fun. Alright, so I guess I won't watch Synergy to check out his post skills, which means those couple extra tweaks that I might make will come at a later date. Like, well, I'll restore this, and let's raise that. Okay, so his original rating is 76. I don't know why I changed it. Don't remember why. But I don't have a problem lowering it, or raising it rather. So I just bumped Cousins up to an 86. That's a nice little 2-point increase. How close are you to leveling up? Not that close. You're like 86 and a half. Offensive awareness I didn't touch on, so let me check that out. And I can already tell right off the bat, yeah, 99 is what 2K would rate him going by their scale. I've got him at 90. So yeah, let's raise him a little bit. Let's make him a 94. And that should actually get him pretty close. Yeah, he's very close to a level up. And I think I actually would like to get that done. So let me look at the rest of his ratings. Let's give 1 extra point of the post offense. Boom. Yep, he's on the verge. Only 2 points of 3-point away. What's your free throw shot? 72%, so that's actually dropped a little bit since last year. Microsoft Word crash on me again. Anytime this program has a freaking problem, it just seems to not work for the rest of the day. There we go. Alright, so I boosted steel 1 point based on what the scale is. That's why I don't upgrade players all the way to what they're producing, because they might drop down again. Stats are funny like that. They fluctuate. So just being a little cautious. Got it Cousins up to an 87 overall. That'll surely continue to go up if he keeps producing. And they have him at an 80 overall in the default roster, so I think I've done a pretty good job there. That actually puts him as the number 2 center in the NBA right now, right behind Dwight Howard. It ties him with Al Horford, who isn't as good statistically, but he's a very solid defensive player. And Brook Lopez, a very similar statistical player, is an 86. I also have Marc Gasol in an 86, Tim Duncan 86. So Cousins has definitely improved this year, and it would be nice to see him stay at this level. Certainly, so he can be worth his contract, and so the Kings can go back to being a good team. Awesome. It's been a little while since I actually edited the Kings. I'm just moving stuff around in my document. I hadn't added didn't really take into account the Rudy Gay trade yet, or even the Mbah Moute for Derek Williams trade. So let me just move stuff around. Alright, so let's move on to Rudy Gay. Who I did shot tendencies for most of the top players already. Yeah, he's one of those. So what's he up to? So not surprisingly, his usage rate is way down with the Kings and his efficiency is way up. So he's actually scoring at the same rate that he was with the Raptors, averaging 19 points. But since he's only the number 3 option, his scoring efficiency has gone way up. He was shooting 39% with the Raptors, and he's shooting 50% with the Kings. His 2-point percentage with the Raptors was 39%. His 2-point percentage with the Kings is 55%. So things have definitely changed for him. Let me log back into Synergy. And I now need to move the window around. No, don't maximize. Bless me. And that's off my... Oh, screen region's not even there. But, yep, it's... Alright, cool. Alright, so let me actually really quick look at synergy. Rudy Gay on the Kings, and then compare him to the Raptors, and I'll tell you guys what's changed. Why exactly Rudy Gay is performing better on the Kings than the Raptors. Let's see. On the Kings, on the Raptors, 24% of his plays made up were isolations, and that's down to 16%. So he's not playing one-on-one as much. Pick and rolls dropped from 19% to 16%, so that's another play where the ball's in his hands. Those went down. Post-ups are up. He posts up 18% of the time now. Previously, that was 13%. And I've always felt like Rudy Gay operates better as a post player rather than with the ball in his hands. So, like more as a stretch four who can post up, kind of similar to like a Carmelo Anthony or even a Kevin Durant. So he's doing more of that, and he's been doing it well. He's shooting 50% in the post with the Kings compared to 31% with the Raptors. He's operating more as just as a power forward, I think, because his pick and roll, he's operating as the roll man, the receiving man in the pick and roll, 5% of the time, which is up from 2%. So yeah, I think he's just playing more stretch four. He's spotting up less, which is good, because he's obviously not a great shooter, if you've seen his shooting percentages. And he's running more. Transition makes up 11% of his opportunities, only 8% with the Raptors. And he's actually 15 of 20 in transition compared to 7 of 20. So, yeah, this is all just showing what happens when you take a player who was the primary offensive option and really shouldn't have been the primary offensive option, and now you're making him the third option. So, good for him. The Kings kind of made a good trade here, I think. He's still not worth the ridiculous contract that he has, making $18 million this year. He's still not playing at an all-star level, but not a terrible gamble. He's playing well enough, and the team has improved since they traded for him. Anything notable to change? Let's check out his shot block rating. And close. I have way too many windows open. There we go. This will probably be a quick one. I feel like I touched on some of these guys earlier. I probably did when they did the trade initially, but it doesn't hurt to just retouch everybody. Do. Block rating is what I wanted to look at, and yeah, I will boost his block rating a little bit. And what am I looking for? Vertical. Boom. Let's take a look at his shooting ratings, since that's what's improved with the Kings. Mid-range, I can boost that up a little bit. Well, I will actually drop his close rating in conjunction with that. Ooh, I really want to see him go up. Kind of liked him right where he was. Could probably drop his close rating a couple extra, well, just 1 or 2 points. Let me see what NBA.com stats say. He was 41% last year. Yep. Alright, that's fine. So his shooting stats become a little more balanced. And we improved his block rate. Nothing major. I'm going to skip over Carl Landry. And I have not edited Marcus Thornton this year, so this is actually a cold edit. Alright, so Thornton's actually having a very bad year. This is his worst, the worst season of his career, it looks like, by far. Player efficiency rating 11.4. Previously, it was 16.3 last year, which was actually his career worst. So that's a 5-point drop between this year and last year. The reason it appears to be, number one, his usage rate has dropped considerably, and his shooting percentage has dropped considerably. Normally, when a player's usage rate drops, you can expect to see their shooting percentage go up, but instead Thornton's has gone down, probably because he's just struggling to adjust to his new role. Usually when players drop in usage rate, they become like spot-up shooters, essentially, and Thornton is probably a better pull-up jump shooter than spot-up jump shooter. So that would be one reason for him to be struggling. Last year he was averaging 19 points per 36 minutes. This year he's averaging 13 points per 36 minutes. So he has not been playing well. I almost certainly will be dropping his rating. Part of it might be he's losing his job to Ben McLemore. And just maybe also be going through a spat with the coach. There's usually a lot of factors related to players who drop right in the middle of their prime. He's 26 or 27. He's 26 years old. So let's load him up. Alright, so his shooting ratings are pretty high. 89, 74, 70, and 83. 83 is actually +1 from last year, the 83 3-point. And 88 free throw, that's also +1 from last year. So what I like to do is, actually, I'll adjust the player based on his 2013 stats and then make adjustments based on what he's done in 2014. Because obviously his sample size, he played 1,700 minutes last year compared to only 600 this year. So if we get last year's data up to date, then we can make adjustments to see where his how his season is progressing, and then make adjustments. I don't base players explicitly on what their stats say they are today. It's kind of a progression. So, that's going to be that. .72 dunk is really high. He's not really a dunker, never has been. Dunks only like 2 or 3 times a year. Shooting traffic again. I'm actually looking at last year's data first, so let me open that up in the 82 games. Microsoft Word is not responding. Having performance issues in the live stream. Dylan Cottrell, this is on Xbox 360 at the moment. And did my file really crash again? For what it's worth, I use the free shitty version of Word, and I guess you get what you pay for. It's 40. Offensive rebounds. Oh, that I have the wrong number in. All right, offensive awareness for last year would have been 84. Yep, 84. 2K had the default rating at 83. It's kind of right on the borderline between the two. Oops. So going by last year's data, Thornton would have been a 75 overall. That is assuredly going to drop. Let me see his game log. He's been really erratic this year. He's only scored 20 points twice. The minutes have been pretty erratic for him too, but he's also had a lot of games where he's like 1 for 6, 2 for 7, 1 for 7. And I don't really blame coaches for benching player. Like, the only thing Thornton does is score, and if he's not scoring well, there's not really much point to having him on the court. So like, he shot 5 for 10, so he played 26 minutes. 1 for 6, he only plays 20 minutes. So when a guy's playing well, he'll play more. And Thornton is not playing well. Since January 1st, he's averaging 8 points a game on 38% shooting. So not a very good month for him. So I'm going to drop his consistency by 10 points. And his offensive awareness is definitely going to drop. 13.6, that's 66 is what his offensive awareness would be going just straight by this year's data, which is an 18-point drop. So let's just meet in the middle, which is 9, so 75. I think that's fair. Could even drop it a little further than that if I so desired. I guess it'll depend on what his overall rating comes out to. And let me just do a little file cleanup. And oh god. Actually, that's pretty similar to what he shot last year. He's just not a good mid-range player. Only 31% from mid-range last year, 32% this year. Close range, 36% last year, 26% this year, but it's a limited number of attempts. At the rim, he's still shooting a high percentage, 67% last year, 69% this year. So I'm guessing his three-point shot dropped. Yes, it did. He shot 37% last year, and he's down to 31.5% this year. And that's where most of his shots come from, is the three-point line. So unfortunately, that's where the bulk of his shooting value comes from. I'll just drop him down to 80. Nothing too drastic, because I do expect that to go back up. And everything else can pretty much stay the same. And that drops him down to a 73. Which I am tentatively okay with. It's going to depend on Ben McLemore's rating, because I would like to get McLemore starting over Thornton. And there are worse players who actually have a high rating that high. So yeah, 73 is fine for Thornton. That's similar to ratings that I have for Jason Terry and Ben Gordon. So it drops him down a little bit. I didn't touch on his signature skills, but those are actually fine. Actually, what I should do is I did not adjust his tendencies. Okay, so 94 shot tendency can definitely drop. As I said, his usage rate has dropped. But even then, he didn't deserve 94. I don't know why 2K does this with like random ass players. His shot tendency last year should have been a 70. It's a 94 in 2K's thing. And for right now, it's a 55, it should be. And let me just notate that last year it should have been 70. So that's a 15-point decrease in what it should have been. And a 40-point decrease from where 2K had it. And yeah, I can pretty much see that Thornton is really only a three-point specialist for the Kings. As you can see, he doesn't really shoot very much from any of the other three zones. And by dropping his shooting tendencies, that'll hopefully lead to more points from Cousins and Isaiah Thomas in associations. I'm also pretty sure that the changes I make will translate over to next gen. It looks like my stream is dropping frames, so give me 1 second. I'm gonna stop streaming and looks like it's still dropping frames. What I'm going to do is close XSplit and reboot it, so it'll probably be
Add another, putting up 15 points, including 3 3-pointers, pushing him to third among all rookies in scoring with just under 9 points a game. Ben McLemore, a November nominee for the Kia Rookie of the Month.
stop streaming and
Where are the people of this nation? If they want a wall,
and we should be
we
back.
will give them a wall.
Still
Don't
dropping
miss the movie
frames.
that is inspiring critics
What
and
I'm going to do
audiences
is
everywhere.
I don't think frames are
The New York
dropping.
Times says Idris Elba gives a towering performance as Mandela. And now the winner of 3 Golden Globe nominations, including Best Actor, Idris Elba.
Freedom is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
Mandela, rated PG-13.
Stop streaming and
Where are the people of this nation? If they want a wall,
we should be
we
back.
will give them a wall.
Still
Don't
dropping
miss the movie
frames.
that is inspiring critics
What I'm
and
going to do
audiences
is I
everywhere.
don't think frames are
The New York
dropping.
Times says Idris Elba gives a towering performance as Mandela. And now the winner of 3 nominations, including Best Actor, Idris Elba.
Freedom is an ideal for which I am prepared to die.
Mandela, rated PG-13.
Stop streaming and you guys can see me fine. Please let me know. If not,
The people of this nation,
also let me know.
if they want a wall,
We should be
we
back.
will give them a wall.
Still dropping frames.
That is inspiring
What
critics
I'm
and
going to do
audiences
is
everywhere.
Alright, so Ben McLemore has actually got some interesting shooting stats. He is 1 for 17 from close range, only shooting 29% from mid-range,
I am prepared to die.
and from three-point range. You guys can see me fine. Please let me know. If not, he's 34%. Also let me know. So he's actually doing even worse than Thornton. His rating will probably drop from the 72 that he's at. Alright, so Ben McLemore has actually got some interesting shooting stats. He is 1 for 17 from close range, only shooting 29% from mid-range, and from three-point range. But yeah, let's get started. You guys can see me fine. Please let me know. If not, He's 34%. Also let me know. So he's actually doing even worse than Thornton. His rating will probably drop from the 72 that he's at. Alright, so Ben McLemore has actually got some interesting shooting stats. He is 1 for 17 from close range. Only shooting 29% from mid-range. And from three-point range. But yeah, let's get started. If it's in fine, please let me know. If not, he's 34%. Also let me know. So he's actually doing even worse than Thornton. I don't think that's really arguable. A 50 close shot rating for a guy who's shooting 1 for 17. He is 1 for 17 from close range. Only shooting 29% from mid-range. And from three-point range. But yeah, let's get started. If it's in fine, please let me know. If not, he's 34%. Also, he's actually doing even worse than Thornton. I don't think that's really arguable. A 50 close shot rating for a guy who's shooting 1 for 17. Really arguable. A 50 close shot. Ben McLemore, I'm going to try and use synergy again. Hopefully this time it works. His dunk rating, he was a really good dunker in college. Let's see if it's translated to the NBA.
Lately they haven't been making them, but that's what scares you because they are good shooters. The lead and the finish by McLemore will climb the ladder.
Nice alley-oop. Ben McLemore, I'm going to try and use synergy again. Hopefully this time it works. Okay. His dunk rating, he was a really good dunker in college. Let's see if it's translated to the NBA. Right now, 75 to 80 seems like a good rating. Based on college, I would have given him an 85. So I just want to keep watching a couple more dunks. Nice alley-oop. And see if anything stands out. What I'm really looking for is A, whether or not he's dunking in traffic, B, alley-oops. He gets a lot of alley-oops on the break, it looks like. So that bodes well for his dunk rating. Right now, 75 to 80. I'm really looking for like a poster moment, I guess you could say, right now. Based on college, I would have given him an 85. So I just want to keep watching a couple more dunks. He doesn't dunk and see if anything stands as frequently as I thought he would. Again, he also takes a lot of jump shots. A, whether or not he's really kind of like a Jason Richardson kind of player. Doesn't create his own shot. He gets a lot of alley-oops on the break. So aside from basket cuts and fast breaks, he's not going to get too many dunks. He's not a good ball handler at all. I'm really looking for like a post. So far, everything is cuts and fast breaks. He doesn't dunk as frequently as I thought he would. Again, he also takes a lot of jump shots. One thing I could increase is his standing dunk rating. It's a lot of alley-oops on the break. So aside from basket cuts and fast breaks, he's not going to get too many. I would like to see him dunk in the half court. He's not a good ball handler at all. It seems like everything is in transition. Everything is cuts or off a basket cut. Or even a putback on an offensive rebound. I mean, I can see him going to the dunk contest this year. Because he does seem to be a pretty good dunker in the open court. He's got a great vertical. There's a poster on somebody in transition. I would like to see him dunk in the half court. Another alley-oop. It seems like everything is in transition. So off a basket cut, or even a putback on an offensive rebound. Obviously, I don't need to see him dunk on somebody. I can see him go into the dunk a half court situation. He does seem to be a pretty good dunker in the open court. He's got a great vertical. To give him a high dunk rating, because obviously that's just an indictment of the player's ball handling rating. But that's where a lot of poster situations occur. I would like to see him. It's easy to look like a good dunker when you're on a fast break and there's nobody between you and the basket. Obviously, I don't need to see him dunk on somebody. I can see him go into the dunk. Alright, finally I got one in a pick and roll situation. To give him a high dunk rating, because obviously that's just an indictment of the player's ball handling rating. That's where a lot of poster situations occur. I gotta see that again. It's easy to look like a good dunker when you're on a fast break and there's nobody between you. I wish I could full screen this. Oh, well, I can. No, never mind. It might crash again. Alright, the Phoenix Suns got posterized. Finally, I got one in a pick and roll situation. And let's just go through the list. Yep, that was his only half-court dunk. A posterization of the Phoenix Suns. So I'm kind of a little torn. I wish I could full screen this. Oh, well, for those of you who are wondering, no, never mind, it might crash again. Ben McLemore is not a good half-court player. Only 3% of his shots are in isolation, only 6% in pick and roll situations. He's a shooting guard, mind you. When a shooting guard only handles the ball on like 9% of his possessions, that's how you know your shooting guard cannot handle the rock. Posterization of the Phoenix Suns. So I'm kind of a little torn. 22% of his shots are in transition, but 48% are spot-ups or off-screens. Ben McLemore is not a good half-court player. Only 3% of his shots are in isolation, only 6%. He's basically a jump shooter unless there's a fast break. He's a shooting guard, mind you. And he has not done well in those ISOs or pick and rolls either. His points per possession in ISOs are 0.36. That's not good. That's 1/3 of a point per possession. Shots are in transition. And 0.58 for pick and rolls. That's half a point per possession. Our spot ups or off screens. Ideally, you want your guys to be around 8/10 of a point per possession. 0.8 unless there's a fast break would be like the average, slightly better than average efficiency. And he has not done well. It's acceptable efficiency. Since an isolation is probably like kind of a last resort type play, since all the other play types are very much more effective. Shots are in transition and 0.58 for pick and rolls. Okay. I'm gonna go with my gut and make McLemore an 85 dunk. 8/10 of a point per possession. Actually, screw that. I'm gonna make him an 80 dunk and increase his standing dunk rating to 50. Than average efficiency. And he has not done well. It's acceptable efficiency. Since an isolation is probably like kind of a last 2K, of course, had him at a 74, so I've still improved upon what they gave him. Okay. I'm gonna go with my gut and make McLemore an 85 dunk. And I so wish that I could show you guys all, what I was looking at with synergy. Actually, screw that. I'm gonna make him an 80 dunk and increase his standing dunk rating. But that would get me into a lot of trouble. It's acceptable efficiency. Since an isolation is probably like kind of a last 2K, of course, had him at a 74, so I've still improved upon what they gave him. Okay. I'm gonna go with my gut and make McLemore an 85 dunk. And I so wish that I could show you guys all, what I was looking at with synergy. Actually, screw that. I'm gonna make him an 80 dunk and increase his standing dunk rating. But that would get me into a lot of trouble. It's acceptable. I don't understand why it's always the guys who can't shoot off the dribble that 2K gives high shoot off dribble ratings. 82 ball handling for Ben McLemore. That's hysterical. They have no idea how inappropriate that is. He's a terrible ball handler. I so wish that I could show you guys all, what I was looking at. Actually, screw that. I'm gonna make him an 80 dunk. That actually might even be high. I don't understand why it's always. You know what? I might as well. He's only got a couple possessions for ISOs and pick and rolls. Why don't I just look at him That's real quick and see if he shows any advanced ball handling? If not, I'll probably drop him. That is lower than a 70. It's terrible ball handling. No. Next. That actually might even be high. You know what? I might as well. No, that's standard. Nice move. He's only got a couple possessions for ISOs and pick and rolls. Why don't I just look at him real quick and see if he shows any advanced ball handling? If not, I'll probably drop him lower than a 70. No. Next. Anything Ben McLemore does off the dribble is pretty much like take 2 dribbles and then pull up for a jumper. Doesn't show any kind of advanced moves or anything. Pump fake. Nice. He's only got a then pulled up for a jumper. ISOs and pick and rolls. Why don't I just look at him? Oh, he actually has an ISO dunk that I missed when I was looking things over. That's not really on anybody.
Has to understand.
That's fine for dunk rating a game. And an ISO layup. Anything Ben McLemore does off the dribble is pretty much take 2 dribbles and then pull up. Yeah, he's the straight line driver. Doesn't show any kind of advanced moves or anything, which I already knew. Just wanted to clarify that not much has changed. And then I'm gonna go out on a limb. He actually has an ISO 7 ball handling. When I was looking things over, that's probably the lowest I'll give a shooting guard. That's fine for dunk rating a game. And an ISO layup. Anything Ben McLemore does off the dribble is pretty much take 2 dribbles. That's gonna really tank his rating, though. There's no way that he's gonna have a higher rating than Marcus Thornton. Nor did I expect him to once he saw his advanced stats changed. It's kind of a wonder that he's still starting, actually. I'm gonna go out on a limb. Actually, 67. Doesn't pass the ball well. It's probably the lowest. Only an average rebounder. That's fine. Man, this is a hatchet job I'm giving McLemore right now. That's gonna really tank his rating, though. There's no way that he's gonna have a higher rating than Marcus Thornton. Nor did I expect him to once he saw his advanced stats changed. It's kind of a wonder that he's still starting, actually. I'm gonna go out on a limb. He actually has an ISO 7. Doesn't pass the ball well. It's probably the lowest. Only an average rebounder. That's fine. Man, this is a hatchet job I'm giving McLemore right now. That's gonna really tank his rating, though. There's no way that he's gonna have a higher rating than Marcus Thornton. Nor did I expect him to once he saw his advanced stats changed. It's kind of a wonder that he's still starting, actually. Doesn't pass the ball well. It's probably the lowest. Only an average rebounder. Man, this is a hatchet job I'm giving McLemore right now. That's gonna really tank his rating, though. There's no way that he's gonna have a higher rating than Marcus Thornton. Nor did I expect Well, I've got synergy open. Let's scoot over to defense real quick. McLemore was known as the defensive guy kind of in college. He was decent at it. Doesn't look like he's playing good defense so far with the Kings. All of his synergy stats are pretty ugly. So I'm not going to improve upon them at all. Well, I've got synergy open. Let's scoot over to defense real quick. McLemore was known as the defensive guy kind of in college. He was decent at it. Doesn't look like he's playing good defense so far with the Kings. All of his synergy stats are pretty ugly. So I'm not going to improve upon them at all. Offensive awareness. As of today, McLemore would deserve 60. You know what? I don't have a problem dropping him. He's a rookie. So I'm not going to improve upon them at all. Offensive awareness. As of today, McLemore would deserve 60. You know what? I don't have a problem dropping him. He's a rookie. Dropping quickness is pretty appropriate for a guy who can't take anybody off the dribble. I will adjust his vertical to the max 99 rating, since he is a great leaper. You know what? I don't have a problem dropping him. He's a rookie. Dropping quickness is pretty appropriate for a guy who can't take anybody off the dribble. It's tough. McLemore was a good shooter in college. He shot 42% from three-point range. That's down to 34% as a pro, though. I'm going to leave him with catch and shoot for now. I could revisit it and take it away from him. As of right now, he doesn't really deserve it, but I'm not trying to go back and forth on these 6 skills every other week. If he doesn't deserve it, I'll take it away from him at the end of the year. The one thing I will add on is highlight film. That way people kind of know that he's a good dunker. And oh my God, 63 overall. He shot 42% from damn range. That's all because I dropped his ball handling. As a pro, though, I'm gonna leave him with catch and shoot for now. I could revisit it and take it away from him. As of right now, he doesn't really deserve it, but I'm not trying to go back and forth on these 6 skills every other week. If he doesn't deserve it, that is a 9-point decrease. The one thing I will add on, I dropped his mid-range game, I dropped his ball handling, and I didn't really raise much of anything. Oh my God, 63 overall. Dropped his offensive awareness. Damn. Dropped his, that's all because I dropped his ball handling. Quickness, 22 points. Damn. Those are both based off of his draft combine measurements. And I didn't really see anything just now in the visuals that suggests that he has a high amount of quickness anyway. He's definitely a faster player than he is quick. That is a 9-point decrease. The one thing I will add on, I dropped his mid-range game. I dropped his ball handling. You know what? He's got a 7.7 player efficiency rating. He's not shot the ball well in a small role. Dropped his offensive awareness. Hasn't defended well either. Because I dropped his ball handling. Weakness 22 points. Yeah, I mean, he's not starting because he deserves to start. He's starting because they spent a high draft pick on him, and they're trying to develop him. He has a high amount of quickness anyway. He's definitely a faster player than. How close is he to a 64? Not close at all. He's closer to a 62, if anything. You know what? He's got a 7.7 player efficiency rating range away. He's not shot the ball well yeah, I'm gonna leave that. I mean, looking at his stats profile, there's no real way that I can justify giving him a high rating. He's not starting higher rating than that. He's starting because to this point this year he's produced negative win shares. So yeah, he's just not playing well. It just kind of sucks that the sim engine is probably going to replace him in the starting lineup with Marcus Thornton. Not close at all. He's closer to a 62, which is something I'm generally trying to avoid. You know what? He's got a 7.7 player efficiency rating range away. He's not shot the ball well yeah, I'm going to leave that. Whatever. I mean, that's what I got to work with. Looking at his stats profile, I can't control 2K's sim engine. What I can control is how good the player actually is. He's starting because to this point this year he's produced negative win shares. So yeah, he's just not playing well. It just kind of sucks. Let's see how accurate his shooting tendencies are. Probably going to replace him in the starting lineup with Marcus Thornton. Not close at all. He's closer to a 62, which is something I'm generally trying to avoid. You know what? He's got a 7.7 player efficiency rating range away. He's not shot the ball. Yeah, I'm going to leave that. Whatever. I mean, that's what I got to work with. Looking at his stats profile, I can't control 2K's sim engine. What I can control is how good the player actually is. To this point this year, he's produced negative win shares. So yeah, he's just not playing well. It just kind of sucks. Let's see how accurate his shooting tendencies are. Probably going to replace him in the starting lineup with Marcus Thornton. Not close at all. He's closer to a 60, which is something I'm generally trying to avoid. Yeah, I'm gonna leave that. Whatever. I mean, that's what I got to work with. Looking at his stats profile, I can't control 2K's sim engine. What I can control is how good the player actually is. To this point this year, he's produced negative win shares. So yeah, he's just not playing well. It just kind of sucks. Let's see how accurate his shooting tendencies are. They're actually surprisingly accurate. Yeah, so just like Thornton, he's a three-point shooter and nothing really else. Doesn't really get to the rim or shoot much from mid-range. They're actually surprisingly accurate. Oh man, that is super low. I'm a little worried about whether or not he's actually going to play, considering Jimmer Fredette can double as a two guard. Yeah, so just like Thornton, he's a three-point shooter and nothing really else. Doesn't really get to the rim or shoot much from mid-range. On that note, let's actually work on Jimmer. And I think I'll make that my final player edit for this broadcast. That is super low. I did about half the Kings teams. That's pretty good for one sitting. I'm a little worried about whether or not he's actually going to play, considering Jimmer Fredette can double as a two guard. Yep. So just like Thornton, he's a three-point shooter and nothing really else. Doesn't really get to the rim or shoot much from mid-range. On that note, let's actually work on Jimmer. And I think I'll make that my final player edit for this broadcast. That is super low. I did about half the Kings teams. That's pretty good for one sitting. Jimmer actually went up 3 points in rating, considering Jimmer Fredette can double as a two guard. So just like Thornton, he's a 3-point shooter. 2K actually has him at shooting guard. On that note, let's actually work on Jimmer I think I'll make that my final in the 2K rosters, but he's been playing point guard most of the year. I did about half the Kings teams. That's pretty good for one sitting. Yep, most of his minutes are point guard. Went up 3 points in rating. Considering all the same, the dude barely plays anyway. 2K actually has him at shooting guard. On that note, let's actually work on Jimmer I think I'll make that my final in the 2K rosters. The Kings have been proactive in talks for Andre Miller. That would be a solid addition for them, since they need they could use a solid backup point guard, and they obviously aren't getting much out of either of their two guards. And it would also, he could play together with Isaiah Thomas, since he is a bigger guard, and Isaiah Thomas would be able to play more off the ball as a scorer. Yeah, I don't have a problem with that. I don't know what they'd give up, but in the 2K rosters, the Kings have been proactive in talks for Andre Miller. That would be a solid addition for them. And Dave, thanks for your comment. I must have refreshed my YouTube video, which I have the video muted. Now it's muted, but anytime I refresh the feed, it's going to unmute itself, unfortunately. There are so many pitfalls to live streaming, while also player editing. Lots of windows open. So again, I'm going to be updating for 2013 and then updating for 2014, because I haven't edited Jimmer yet this year. He actually has an 87 3-point shot, which is 5 points higher than last year. It actually makes him a solid bronze addition to your My Team. So Jimmer didn't play too terribly last year, and he's pretty much playing at the same level this year. His assist rate's gone up a little bit, and everything else is pretty much the same. Yeah, pretty much everything's really identical. It's what he did last year. Also, his defensive rebounds gone up a little bit, but that's probably just an aberration. He's got a small sample size of minutes. And his assist rate going up is really, it went up by 2%, so that could also be an aberration. I'm not going to really factor that in. I think I'm just going to be adjusting him for last year, because he's only played 215 minutes this year and hasn't really showed anything to really separate the 2 years. And I think my fucking program crashed again. Microsoft Word Starter, time for a rant, is the Microsoft Word program that comes with, it comes installed on your PC, but it's not actual Microsoft Word, which basically means that Microsoft Word streams its own advertisements as you're running the program, and if they have a problem on their end of their server, then it kind of fucks everything up for you. And there are just times where it just crashes like this for no rhyme or fucking reason. Like I'll go for weeks without having a problem with the program, and then it just kind of is random on what the days that it decides to act up. So let me reload. Is my screen region off? Oh no, I was just showing I'm just on the NBA page, which has a weird alignment of things. And the good thing about this is, since I'm not really updating for this year. All of last year's data that I already have logged down still applies for the most part. I've changed a couple scales, so I'm just refining that data. 0.8 block percentage. Oh wait, no, that's this year. Oops. Last year's 0.2. That would be 37. This fucking program is not responding again. So irritating. But you'll work. I'm sure it'll work fine once I'm done streaming. There we go. Let's get the rebound ratings in. Offensive awareness, this should be interesting. '83. It's right there. They have 82. Stamina for college players is really kind of tough because you're playing at the college level. You're not playing as difficult competition, so there are certain guys who, like Jimmer Fredette, for instance, college games are 40 minutes. He was playing 35.8 minutes per game, so he was only getting a 3-minute break. If a guy averaged 36 minutes in the NBA, that calls for actually a pretty high stamina rating. But again, that's the NBA level versus the college level. And here in the NBA, he's just a backup level player. So it's kind of interesting, the dynamic of how much should we factor in the fact that the guy is now a bench player versus he used to be a star in college, but now he's not. Because if we did things by college minutes per game and whatnot, then every player in the NBA would have a high stamina rating. I'm gonna drop him because it's been a number of years since then. He's in his 3rd year as a pro. Oops. Alright, so they dropped his potential rating. It was an 80. Now it's 74. I wanted it 75, though. And let me just gloss over this, make sure I didn't miss anything. Did I do defensive awareness? I did not. Boom. And I think that's everything. So he comes out to a 70 overall. That's a +4. And that will give him a higher rating than Ray McCallum, which means he should get the backup role easily in association mode. And let's just adjust his tendencies. As I wait for Microsoft Word to catch up. There we go. He's got a high three-point tendency. Let's see how founded that is. Actually, yeah, that should just by glancing at that. That looks accurate. And last one. Oh. Well, maybe, hold on, did I do the math wrong? Apparently not, okay. Does the NBA have the wrong data? Nope. Oh, okay. I was looking at the wrong category on BBRef. Yeah, 95 definitely dropping. Never mind. Boom. Still a three-point specialist with the 65 versus all of his other shot tendencies, but obviously he's shooting from the rest of these zones a little bit more than, hey, he's got higher inside close and mid-range tendency than Marcus Thornton and Ben McLemore, so he's got much more balance to his scoring game than the other guys who are really just three-point specialists. Cool. And I'm done for now, at least. So, still got to touch on Jason Thompson, Derek Williams, Travis Outlaw, and Quincy Acey. Those are the 4 rotation players that the Kings have that I didn't get to yet, but I certainly will. And the rest of the guys are kind of lower priority, like Aaron Gray, because he really doesn't play much. He's not in their rotation. Generally, when a guy is in a rotation, I place a higher priority on him. So let me just head to home. And the Kings are 76 overall. How does that compare to the Lakers are 66 overall with their whole team injured? Pelicans are 80 overall. Let me see where they rank in the standings. They're 10 and 22, but I feel like they're improving. They did beat the Rockets on the road, and they beat the Heat. And they have another 15-point win against the Rockets, so they've got some high-quality wins under their belts. 15-point win versus the Mavericks. But they kind of just played a tough stretch of games. And then they got Portland next, so we'll see how that sticks. But where are the Kings? 76 overall isn't actually all that great. Where does that rank? Only 18th. So I'm okay with that. They'd be better in the East, but in the West, most of the teams are rated higher. So actually, what I would like to do now is let's get into an association. With the Kings and see how their guys are producing. Oh boo, everybody's unhappy with their role. Go to hell. And let's just simulate a bit. And Cousins gets hurt for 46 weeks. McLemore hurt for 46 weeks. With a strained neck. Who gets hurt for 46 weeks with a strained neck that you can't play through? So trade offer, Birdman and Udonis Haslem for Carl Landry. Kings would not do this trade. Haslem has another year left on his contract, and as much as Birdman would be an upgrade, let's stick with Carl Landry, who is younger and also plays a position where we need him at. Not too many injuries for the Kings, who are a younger team and thus more durable, although Ben McLemore seems unable to stay healthy. We're actually 17 and 10. I do need to improve the Suns quite a bit, as they are the surprise team of the year by far. Wilson Chandler for Carl Landry. I will decline because obviously I have Rudy Gay. One thing I like that my roster's really done is it kind of cuts down on a lot of the stupid trade offers. That teams inevitably make. Everybody loves the 2K sim engine logic. Cousins is hurt again, 2 to 4 weeks. Separated shoulder for Jason Thompson. Only 2 to 4 weeks. Chris Paul is going to be out for 6. And now the record is starting to fall. We're down to 4 games over 500. And I think Cousins came back a little early on the 2 to 4 week spectrum. And we're under 500. So I guess we started hot, and we're falling back. Greg Steemsma and a first-round pick for Ben McLemore and a first-round pick. Yeah, I fail to see what the advantage is for the Kings when I mean, I guess maybe the logic that they're saying is, oh, you guys need a third center. He's an upgrade over Aaron Gray. Yeah, that's how they're looking at it, I guess. I need to upgrade Aaron Gray, or else teams are going to offer Greg Steemsma and the like. And Ben McLemore, obviously not that much value until he improves quite a bit. He still has an 85 potential in my roster, which is where he's getting that extra star of potential from. So he will develop eventually, but for right now, not a very good player. Let's decline this trade and put that in the back of my head that I got to upgrade Aaron Gray to prevent teams from offering trades. DeMarcus Cousins is out again. What is his durability rating? That's the 3rd time he's had to sit out. Thaddeus Young for Carl Landry. I would probably do this trade. I think Thaddeus Young's well, you know what? Never mind, I wouldn't, because he's just too similar to Derek Williams and Rudy Gay. And Carl Landry, a back of the basket player, but it's not a ridiculous trade. Marcus Thornton hurt. Jeff Teague for Rudy Gay. Jeff Teague and Kyle Korver for Rudy Gay. Why are the Hawks offering this? Because they don't have a small forward. Okay. And I guess they technically have point guard depth with Lou Williams, Dennis Schroeder, Shelvin Mack. I don't know though. For the, you know what, I wouldn't mind doing that trade. I still got to give up a first-round pick, but one that I don't think the Kings own in real life, but I wouldn't be against this trade. Obviously, I'm not really a fan of Rudy Gay. But never mind, what am I saying? The Jeff Teague we don't really need because we already have Isaiah Thomas. So unless I was going to trade Isaiah Thomas, or it was clear that I wouldn't be able to re-sign him, you know, that's the only reason you would make this trade otherwise. Kyle Korver, certainly an upgrade over Marcus Thornton or Ben McLemore. Luol Deng for Rudy Gay. Hell yeah, I would do that. For market, he's got an expiring contract, which defeats the whole purpose of Rudy Gay. Rudy Gay has one more year on his deal. Marcus Teague sucks, but that's okay. They're only wanting like a second-round pick in exchange. Wow, I would do this in a heartbeat. It's rare to see the computer offer a trade where they get ripped off, because you could see that Luol Deng, only 2.5 stars of potential. Rudy Gay has 3. Normally the computer doesn't offer trades where they get the short end of the stick in terms of the star rating system. So that's interesting. I would do that in a heartbeat too. We're getting a similarly talented player, similar age, 1 less year on the contract. That would be fantastic. So let's daily view the West All-Stars. Rudy Gay makes the All-Star team. Unfortunately, either Rudy Gay or Nick Batum has to make the All-Star team because they're like the second best small forward in the West. I personally would prefer Andre Iguodala, but he doesn't produce the numbers required to make the All-Star team. And Rudy Gay's averaging 16 points, 16, 6, and 3. That's good enough. It's close enough to the All-Star team. Unfortunately, the game cares more about stats than it does wins. And really, DeMarcus Cousins or Isaiah Thomas should make the team over Rudy Gay, but it requires them to take like a second small forward for whatever reason. And just to show how weak the East is, DeRozan makes the All-Star team. Averaging 23. I still need to get around to adjusting his shooting tendencies. That's probably a reason why. Michael Carter-Williams always seems to make the All-Star team for me because of his stats. Roy Hibbert makes the All-Star team. How does Roy... Oh, then never mind. There's Paul George. Who got snubbed? Kyrie Irving in favor of Kemba Walker. I've never seen Kemba Walker average that much. And Kyle Lowry also made it. Whatever, one team at a time. I was editing the Kings. One reason I keep having CPU adjust rotation rather than always have the CPU adjust is because I want to see how many injuries I'm getting during the simulations. If I put always simulate, it's not going to show me when the injuries happen. And the Kings are 500. And that's probably fair. Looking at the Pacific, the Suns are the team that I definitely need to work on most. Ben McLemore played 30 minutes per game. I'm assuming. Sixth man goes to Nate Robinson. Did Melo really make All-NBA first over Kevin Durant? Come on. That's never happened before. Durant must have gotten hurt because he's missing. And no Kings made the list. All defense. He got 32 minutes. They listened to his start. I put starter and they listened. And we were 500, but we did not make the playoffs. Why can't I look at standings during the fucking playoffs? That's so stupid. Player season. So Cousins averaged 19 and 10. I think just the fact that the three guys all start probably just cuts into Cousins' minutes. He probably doesn't take, not his minutes, but his shots. Doesn't shoot nearly as much as he would if one of these guys was like the sixth man. I guess I should also factor in that Carl Landry is healthy. And that probably cut into his touches a bit, because he is the highest rated power forward on the team. And averaged 11 points. Let's go to minutes. Actually, he started half of the games. I guess he was the starter. Well, you know what? Yeah, that is a reason why DeMarcus Cousins didn't make the All-Star team, is he got hurt too much. He only played 48 minutes. So, not 48 minutes, but 48 games. So that's his reason for missing the All-Star team, and as well as the All-NBA team. Otherwise, Rudy Gay probably would have missed it. He would have averaged fewer points with a healthy Cousins out there. Yeah, I dig it. That's all pretty close to what they average in real life, aside from McLemore getting that much minutes. Looks like they came at the expense of Derek Williams. Alright, let's see this playoff tree. Oh, let's see if any dumb trades happened. Devin Harris for Al Harrington. Steve Blake for Brandon Wright. Andre Blatch for Nick Vukcevic. Vasquez for Sessions. J. Miles, Randy Foy. J.R. Smith for Danny Green. Ha! In the Knicks' dreams. J.J. Hickson for Trevor Ariza. Birdman for a first-round pick. Humphreys for Nash. Dunleavy for Karolinko. That's one I can see happening, especially if the Bulls manage to trade Deng. Mbah Amute for Jason Terry. The Nets were busy. Antoine Jameson. No team is ever going to trade a fucking prospect for Antoine Jameson. He's 38. Come on. All these veterans getting traded, like, it doesn't happen in real life. Phillips for Spates, Meta for Tony Douglas. So we got some role players that moved along. JJ Redick for Taj Gibson. That's silly. And I guess this is the current injury report. How many guys are out for the year? Varejao, Jermaine O'Neal, Al Horford, Bargnani. Oh, he missed the all-rookie team. I guess that's why. Alright, off to the playoff tree. The Warriors were the first seed. This never happened for me before. Heat, first seed. They advance. Pacers missed the playoffs. Come on. That's the second time that shit's happened. Everything else looks fine. The West looks pretty good. Those are all playoff teams. And the right teams all advanced. The East is just kind of a crapshoot because aside from the Heat and the Pacers, everybody else sucks. Which makes it a little irritating that the Pacers are completely missing. Maybe they had an injury or something. Thunder and Spurs, rematch of the conference finals. Heat and Bulls, rematch of the conference finals. And we got a rematch of the finals. Was this the result in 2011 or 2012? Except the Thunder sweep en route to a championship. Michael Beasley plays 35 minutes. Why? I hate that. Like, he becomes... He's taking all the shots that Bosch and Wade normally would. Because they just gotta give him a starting role. That's a unique retirement. So Vince and Ray Allen are going to make the Hall of Fame. And some player progression. No, why would I sign Jimmer Fredette for 4 years at $17 million? No. Stop it. I don't want to sign you. Looks like LeBron didn't make it to free agency. The Heat re-signed him. So Isaiah Thomas and Eric Bledsoe are the top free agents on the market. Let's make that offer. How much cap room do I have? -6. At least if I offer something to Bosch. Alright, so I can offer like a $5 million deal. It looks like. Do I have cap room? How do I tell? I guess I don't because I just traded for Rudy Gay this year. So the MLE is really what I'm looking at. I could sign a guy like Andrew Bynum, but power forward's probably where we need improvement. Small forward is fine. I shudder at the thought of Melo on the same team as the rest of those guys. Oh, never mind. 2 guard is where we need improvement. Lance Stevenson is happy to take my money. Hell yeah. Let's make Lance Stevenson an offer. He can't refuse. Gordon Hayward. Yeah, he won't be interested. Can't afford him for the MLE. I'm surprised that Lance Stevenson will take that little money. Avery Bradley. You know what? Yeah, if he'll take the MLE, why not? Don't like Rodney Stuckey for this team. And let's see if anybody accepts my offers. Oh, I apparently need a backup center. And I just signed Lance Stevenson, it looks like. Ha ha ha. Maybe you should learn what the league minimum is, 2K Sports. It's actually 790,000 for a player with Josh Harrelson's service time. So yeah, I'm content. Never mind. No, never mind. I'm not going to argue the semantics of it. And I'm sure they signed, they auto-signed some center for me, I'm sure. Oh no, they didn't, but that's okay. Jason Thompson is fine as a center. So yeah, the Kings, after 1 year, Lance Stevenson signs as a starter. Pretty solid lineup overall. Since they are young, everybody's generally improving. Looks like chemistry is high. For most of the team, at least. Fantastic. Alright, so that's what a Kings Association would look like. Thank you guys for watching the content of this video. And be on the lookout for my next one. Do let me know how what I could work on with this live roster editing stream. Obviously, everything's kind of a work in progress. I want to make it as entertaining for you as possible while still not diminishing my efficiency that much, as the quicker I edit, the sooner you guys will be able to download my rosters. So thanks again for watching, and subscribe to my channel, follow me on YouTube, etc. Have a good one.